Story time on how my neighbor caught me slacking in his property. All right, so my neighbor is a really sketchy guy, and me, my cousin, my brother, and my friend wanted to explore his property at night. So we decided at 9 p.m. at dark we would go in his property. Me and my cousin were going in his property, and my brother and friend was a lookout, in case my neighbor came out his house. Now we're into the story. So me and my cousin went down into his property. By the way, his property is like a pit that goes in the ground with a ton of trees and crap. So it's scary as hell, especially at night. Now I'll start the story. So me and my cousin were halfway into his property, and we were looking at stuff with our flashlights, and I asked her if I could use her binoculars, and she said yes, and gave them to me. So I looked in them and I looked up at his car. Now mind you, we were in a pit, so his car was above us. Then when I look in her binoculars, I see a black figure behind his car, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? So I take away the binoculars and look at his car and see
my fucking neighbor staring right down at me.
with some
Anime main character stance.
Like hell fucking no.
I be praying on my grave at this point. So I tap my cousin and I say, what the hell is that? And she doesn't say anything. She's just silent. At this point, we just run back up to my friend and brother, and we're just frantically telling them that we saw my neighbor behind his car. So much for lookout, because they didn't warn us about him at all, but whatever. So we had to make sure we weren't mistaking him, and it was actually something else, so we went by his car and checked. We didn't see him at all, but we saw a motorcycle, and we just said it was probably that. So we decided that we would go back down.
And don't ask me why I thought it was a motorcycle, because I don't know. I was just trying to convince myself it wasn't him, because I was scared as hell.
But me and my cousin went back down, which was a bad idea, and we were looking around with the flashlights, and I was like, I'ma just look to see if it's still there, because if it is, that means it was the motorcycle. So I looked back up at the car, and the black figure was not there.
Yeah, fuck no. Might as well start planning my funeral.
So I just tell my cousin that the figure is gone, and at this point we're sprinting back up to my brother and friend and telling them it had to be him standing there because it's gone. I didn't get to really explain because we were in a hurry to get out of there, so we ran back up to my house and locked the door. And that's all that happened. I'm now forever wondering if I was just seeing things or it was actually him standing there, but I guess I'll never know. Peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed my story.